Welcome to Caring Connections. I'm Sally Gibney. When you see a wonderful show, do you ever wonder what magic makes it all happen? Well, today we're going to find out. We're here today at the Dorset Playhouse on Cheney Road here in Dorset, Vermont, where the Dorset Theater Festival has this wonderful, wonderful season. Their opening night is next Friday, June 23rd. So there's a lot going on. So let's go on inside and see what's making this magic happen. Oh, wow. Hello. How are you? Good.
So this is our prop shop. Larry is our prop master.
Hello.
And Jeanette is the props
Sally.
intern.
Get close.
Could you tell us about these objects?
Sure thing. The show has a breakaway rabbit, which needs to be destroyed every night. So I had to come down here and make a small army of them. And
One for every night?
one for every night. And then a few of them get thrown into the show, and they have a little bit of personality. So
Tell them about the Irish hero rabbit back there.
Oh!
we have that wonderful little St. Patrick's guy as well.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's really neat. So you have a little bit of everything here, don't you, Larry?
Well, you'll never understand why there's African art and homemade rabbits in the same play until you see the play. You won't have the slightest idea what it is. We're also framing our art for the set. There is a little bit of everything in all these boxes all over the place. A lot of them are labeled quite well, and we can find stuff. Some of them are surprises. We open them, we never know what we're going to find. It's wonderful. But you have to have as much possible items as you possibly can that might work in the future. So,
Now, how long have you been here?
this is my second season here, my second time in Dorset. I came back because I love it so much. I really
Oh,
like it here.
good. Well, we're glad to
And
have
I've
you.
been doing this since I was her age. So, this is going to stand in for a baby. We're taking a photograph of the couple in the play, but the baby doesn't really exist. So this is going to stand in, and then we'll Photoshop a picture of a baby in there. So we need this to get the distance between the couple who are sitting there with the baby.
Oh, that's so neat. It's, you know, there's so much involved in this
Yeah.
that we have no clue what it is. You know,
I
it's
know
just-
you don't
just
really
so much.
know what's behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we're happy to be able to come in and visit with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good.
Bye-bye now.
Well, I am here with Dina Janice and Michael Giannetti. Thank you so much for being here. It's so exciting, and I know our audience is going to be so happy to hear all about the magic that happens at the Dorset Theater. Now, Dina, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got here. And
well, let's see. I started out as an actor in Chicago. Worked with a company there called the Steppenwolf Theater Company, which is sort of where I got my start. And I moved to New York many, many years ago. Lived there for about 25 years, and I worked there as an actor. Became a member of the Actors Studio and did a bunch
How
of other
exciting
kinds
is
of work.
that?
It was exciting. It was really a
Yeah.
fantastic place to get mentored.
Oh.
And over the years, I became, much more involved in directing and always did a lot of new play work, working with new playwrights. And then about 12 years ago or so, I moved up to this area, ended up getting a job teaching at Bennington College, teaching in the drama department, and really did the reverse commute to New York when I would be working professionally and taught at the college. Several years ago, a playwright, very well-known playwright, Teresa Rebeck, who is the resident playwright here, she's someone who many may know because she had her hit series Smash. Was on
and
NBC
that
this
is
year.
absolutely unbelievable.
Well, she wrote that and executive produced that with Steven
How exciting
Spielberg.
to have her here.
Yeah, it's really thrilling. She was doing a new play retreat where she would bring very good writers from across the country up to her home. She now has a home on the Hollow in Dorset, and they would do a retreat, a writer's retreat. And she asked me to come in and direct and work with those retreats. That led to, when the festival was looking for an artistic director, them approaching me about coming on board because they knew me from that. And then I came on board. This is my third season here at the festival.
How lucky we are to have you.
Yeah,
This
well,
is so
thank you.
neat. And with all the connections you have and the people that you know and what you
Yeah.
can bring to us.
Yeah,
It's absolutely exciting.
it's been really exciting to finally be actually not commuting to New York to work and having
Bringing New
people
York
coming
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really great.
Which is great. Michael, tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. I started off as a lighting designer, and I've designed lighting on Broadway and in resident theaters around the country. I've worked a lot in Washington at the Studio Theater in particular.
Wow.
I've done many shows at the Shakespeare Theater of New Jersey. And like Dina, I moved to Vermont when I started teaching at Bennington College, which was a little over 20 years ago.
Wow.
And I've been here since. When Dina took over the festival, she asked me to come on board to oversee the production aspects of things. And so it's been a great experience to be here and kind of extend beyond the work that I'd previously done to oversee all the production areas.
The whole package. Yeah. Now tell me a little bit about what you do. Now what is your role here?
Well, as artistic director,
Yeah.
I kind of choose the season with a lot of input from people who I trust, like Michael. Choosing the plays, hiring the directors, choosing which directors that we use. We have a wonderful pool of New York directors who've been working with us. I do all the casting.
Wow.
So I do the casting for all the plays.
Now do you do the casting here or do you do it in New York or how does that
when
work?
I came on board, it was important to me that we did our general auditions, which is something that is required. We're an equity house, so we hire professional equity actors. And I wanted to always do one of those generals here at the Playhouse. We do them in like March, I think, is when they're normally scheduled, so that all the regional actors here would have the opportunity of coming in and being seen.
Oh, that's neat.
And then we do another day of those generals in New York City, and then we do a lot of days of individual
callbacks and
castings,
things.
calling actors in through agents and submissions and things like that.
Wow.
It's a couple-month process, which requires me back and forth from New York a lot.
And of course you have specific roles, so you have specific needs. So
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
kind of
And
for certain people.
sometimes, it's challenging. We've been really fortunate because we've had plays like Teresa Rebeck gave us one of her plays in our first season, a play called The Novelist, to premiere here. That enabled us to bring in some fantastic actors from the get-go that would have normally been used to working at Williamstown Theater Festival or Berkshire Theater Festival, but had really never been here. And that kind of opened that door for us.
It does open it up, doesn't it?
And we've been really fortunate. I mean, this season especially, we have this cast that we're about to open. 2 of the original cast members from the Broadway production of Good People are in this production.
Wow.
And a fantastic other, all the actors in it are really top-notch, A-list New
Well, I
York
can't wait to
actors.
see it. That's
And
great.
and we just finalized casting for our 3rd show, which is a premiere by Michael Christopher of a new play, again, a world premiere, and we have Judd Hirsch
Oh, my
doing the
goodness.
lead in that. So we're still casting the rest of those characters, but it's definitely been
just bringing
the
a whole-
momentum and
yeah.
the talent level and their renown is really kind of increased. So we're really excited.
That is very exciting.
Yeah, we're really excited
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
neat. Michael, tell us now what your role is.
Sure. I hire all of the staff and interns. So we have this summer, we have 14 interns and I think about 10 staff people. So that process begins in January. People submit resumes and I do loads of phone interviews and attend some job fairs to try to find the best people. And we have some really great folks with us this year.
Oh, that's great.
I also hire all the designers. Each show has a set designer, a costume designer, a lighting designer, and a sound designer. And I do some of the lighting designs myself, but I hire all the other people. I organize the production calendar in terms of when the shows are going to be. Dina and I consult on which weeks the season is going to run, but then I need to figure out, well, what days would the tech rehearsals be, how much time are we allowed to work, all of those kind of things, because there's various union rules that we have to abide
Well,
by.
of course, with it being equity, too, you have a lot more rules, I would think, that you
Yes.
have to abide by.
And I organize the production budget in terms of figuring out, of our available budget, how much to allocate for one set as opposed to another, and all the different shop areas, and then I oversee all of our shops.
There really is a lot of magic
is.
that happens, isn't it? I mean, I think that for all of us, lay people, you just don't have a clue what goes into it. And I think that that's what's very exciting is sharing with our audience what does go into this.
Yeah.
You know, it's really... So, Michael, tell us about the different places that we're going to visit, the different...
Sure. We'll take a quick look at the stage. And right now, the set that we're building for Good People is partially constructed. There's not a lot of scenery actually on the stage at this point. There's a lot of scenery piled up because we first need to install a series of platforms, which will be toward the back of the stage that other walls will then go on top of. This set is a somewhat more complicated set because there's 5 different locations. The play is set in 5 different locations, and so there's scenery that has to move. And so they're still in the process of building what's called wagons, which is like a platform that has casters on it where a whole scene can come in and out. So those are all still in process, and our scenic artist and her assistant are still painting. So there's not, you won't actually see a lot on stage at this point, but there will be.
We'll see the platforms, right?
A few days from now. Right.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So what you see here are pieces of several of the sets. This material right here is brick. A lot of the set is made of brick walls. And our scenic artist, you can see that there's various levels of texture on that brick, builds up the bricks to make them look more realistic.
Wow. This is so cool.
These are what you're seeing here are various walls which will become part of the scenery. That wall right there with the wallpaper on it will be the kitchen wall. One of our sets is a kitchen, and it will have a refrigerator and cabinets and a sink and a stove and the whole 9 yards.
Wow. Is there any requirement for the people who are working on the sets?
Well, we look for people that all have professional experience, you know, that's substantial, because we really don't have the time. Our schedule is so busy that we need, well, there are opportunities to teach. We do have an internship program, and so that we look for interns that have worked in college or in some other capacity in the area that they're working on, but we don't presume that they have a wealth of professional knowledge. Right. So they're here to
but
practice.
Time is of the essence.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So our staff all arrived today's Thursday. Our staff arrived 9 days ago. And we have to have the set on stage this weekend to be able to rehearse with. So it's a very tight time frame.
Tight time frame, yeah. Okay, where do we go from here?
We can go into the scene shop.
Wow. Hi. Hello.
So because our shop is small, as you can see, there's not a lot of space. So the stage floor becomes an extension of the space, and the whole outside area also becomes an additional workspace. Right now, because we don't have another set on stage, we have the luxury to spread out a little bit more. But once Good People is up and running on stage...
Then you're working on the next one.
We're working on the next one, and we can't be working on stage because there's another set in place.
Right.
Here's what will become the bottom cabinets in our kitchen. We find things from various places. There's an old countertop, which is just what we were looking for, which was donated. We have the top cabinets in the kitchen were donated from someone else, and they needed to be rebuilt a bit because they're too heavy to actually have the wall of the scenery hold them up. The dumpster right here is also going on the set, which is why it's over here and not where the other dumpsters are. We're very lucky that one of our board members is associated with Casella and arranged for us to borrow a dumpster, which we needed for the set. So it will actually be holding up one of the walls of the set. And you see more painting of brick happening outside here.
Now, you're doing a lot of things this season, a lot of new things, and I wonder if you'd share with us what they are so that our viewers will know what's going on.
Well, firstly, we do have our new play reading series. This is something that we're really committed to here, is doing a lot of new play development. So this summer, we have 3 really very renowned national playwrights coming in, the first being Sherry Kramer on the 26th of this month. But what happens is they come in, the director from New York, and this summer we're using, the person who's running it is a wonderful director, Susie Agins, who ran the new play development at Williamstown for many years. She's coordinating this, so she comes in with the playwright. Often the actors come from New York, or they may be cast locally. We pull the actors and the writer in a room for 2 days, and they work on a brand new play. They read it, they change it, they edit it.
Oh, how neat is
It's
that?
very exciting. It's one of the funnest things to do and incredibly useful for the playwright. And then we put it up in a staged reading for a public audience and afterwards do a Q&A with the audience that comes, and they can input right to the playwright and the actors and director.
Isn't that great?
And it really, I mean, we've had a few plays. Teresa Rebeck's play Seminar was started at her writing retreat. That play was recently on Broadway starring Alan Rickman. Rajiv Josephs wrote a play here, and that got its start. His play, actually, Bengal Tiger, ended up on Broadway with Robin Williams.
Wow.
So what's exciting for us is to be able to give a home, especially in this area, which people go crazy when they get here.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's so great, and then they work on new plays.
Now, the people who do the readings, do they have to be equity, or do you bring in?
We have an agreement with equity so that it can be a mix this year, and some of the actors are equity, some are non. And it just depends on what the casting needs are.
Yeah. Now, I mean, if people in the community wanted to get involved, are they able to come and say, here I am, and this is what I can do?
Yes, and they do, absolutely. In fact, we have a local actor here, Tom Ferguson, who is fantastic.
Yeah,
he
he
works
really
all
is.
the time for the Dorset Players.
Yeah.
And he's helping us right now with this current show.
Oh,
we
great.
needed somebody to do all the voice of a priest in a bingo sequence where there's a long bingo game going on, and he's doing that for us,
Oh,
which
that's
is
so
really,
neat.
really great. So that's important to us. We're really interested in bringing local actors, and we've done that every year.
Which is great,
Yeah.
Now, what else are you doing?
Well, the other things that we've done, a lot of our kind of educational programs that we've done, they go on throughout the year, people may not realize, but
No.
this year we have a camp, which we do, which is 2 weeks for all the local youth.
What ages?
7 through
14?
I think, 12 or 14. And it's a very popular, it's our second time in with it. It's a very popular camp, and it's great. And at the end, well, the kids come in and they do a tour of the theater. Each of the shop heads does a project with them. They get to tour the light booth, and they meet the actors. And then they come to the matinee that's up, and then afterwards the actors do a special talk back with them. And then they do a presentation at the end of original
do.
plays that they've written on their own.
They've written themselves.
Yeah, and this year
Oh,
we
my
actually were
goodness.
able to do a
that's
program
fun.
in the schools, which we were really proud of. It's called the Jean E. Miller Young Playwrights Competition. It's our first year of doing it. And the Wyndham Foundation and John and Janet Irving helped underwrite this.
So this is
Hello.
our costume shop.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Look at these girls.
Hard at work, right?
Yeah.
Hard at work, hardly working. Whatever.
Okay,
So as I mentioned upstairs, we're going to be building, or in the process of building, 3 stewardess uniforms for Boeing, and so that's what they're working on now, is the mock-ups out of not the fabric that we're actually going to be using, but a cheaper fabric to see how it drapes and how it all goes together. And,
Wow.
and at which point then they'll be made, the real garments will be made out of the actual fabric that the costume designer chooses.
Wow. Oh, that's so neat. So,
She's in New York as we speak, buying the fabric.
oh.
Hopefully.
So then when the actresses are here, you fit the costumes, these mock costumes to the actresses, and then that's
Right.
when you make the others.
Make adjustments.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Oh, this is so neat.
We do what's called, on modern shows, we do what's called establishing a closet, which is a grouping of clothes that would probably be worn by the character, but might or might not be in the show, depending on who's wearing what else. We don't want people to match and look like
Don't
we're
want them-
trying
or
to make
clash.
a subtle connection that's not there. So we do a whole bunch of like, oh, well, you know what? We love these 5 outfits. Let's try this one for this scene, this for that scene, and this for the other scene. And then if we look at it on stage and it clashes with the couch, we decide, okay, well, let's go back and look at something else that we know we like and we know fits the character but doesn't, isn't the same shade of green as the couch.
So it's really an ongoing process. It's something that you have to
very-
really go back and forth with and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very organic development.
That's great.
So-
That's really, really neat. Now, do you have a lot of costumes there that you can draw from, or do you have to go out and get other costumes, or how does that work?
We have some costume stock, but a lot of stuff is brought in for each show. So this show, for example, There's most of it is what we call shopped, which means the costume designer will go out and because things are supposed to look older and worn, we'll do a lot of thrift store shopping, not because that not because that's all the money we have, but because that's the right choice for the things that we're looking for. In other productions, if we need something that's period or something very high end, we may need to rent that from a costume company that does rentals in New York, or we do exchanges with other theaters. So there's various means.
So you work in
to find
conjunction with
things
other theaters as
Sure.
well.
And some things we'll actually build. For our second production, Boeing, there's 3 stewardess costumes that we're building in our shop.
Yeah, I love on your website the pictures that you have.
Oh,
you know,
thank
for
you.
each of your website looks fabulous. It really does
you.
look really good. But I saw the stewardess looking through. That was really the costume was really cute. And then what about the props? The prop shop.
We have a prop master here who you maybe meet. His name is Larry Vigas, and he is so good at this. But he goes out and finds everything.
Wow.
A lot of it is, borrowed from local people who have different things in their homes, and he has to track everything down from every single item that people use, a spoon to anything that's on the set, furniture-wise. That's all from the prop master.
And I understand there are some people in the community who have been supplying props over the years, which is really kind of neat when you think about it.
We have a group that Judy Livingston runs with Sheila Childs, also helps a lot, called the Supporting Casters. And they are a group of women mostly, I think all women, who all are so fabulous. And they will, on an email blast, we will hear back from them, and they've given us everything from the most high-end, delicate antique or piece of furniture to, something simple that we're just looking for and we can't find. And they've been really generous. That's been really helpful.
That's so neat. And I think
it's great.
I think it must be very exciting for them too to feel they're a part of it.
Well, and then they
get
to see
part
it.
Of, yeah.
When they show up, they see it on the stage, and they're like,
oh, that's mine.
That lace looks really nice,
And depending on the particular show, for this particular show, one of the sets, needs to be very high-end furniture. So they've agreed to, several local businesses have agreed to lend us things. So we'll have several pieces of furniture that Bob Gasparetti has made and is letting us borrow, and several pieces of furniture from Amy Tybalt.
Oh, isn't that great? And it's really, as I say, it's so nice to have it as part of the community.
It's great.
It really works very, very well.
We're so fortunate that they're willing to lend us things. And
I just think it makes it more community.
It's a community effort. That's what's kind of great about it. Even though we've really been raising the bar professionally, but I think also
you've maintained that community feel. And
engaged.
I think that I know when we first moved here, there was a real sense of community, and I think for a little while there, it sort of slid away, and I see it coming back, and that's what's so exciting is that the community part is here. Now you're doing
French farce called Boeing, which is about a bachelor with a Parisian apartment with 3 airline stewardesses whose schedules get completely screwed up and they start finding out about each other when Boeing comes up with the fast plane.
It's fun.
So it's just pure fun. Then our third play is the premiere of the Michael Christopher play, world premiere of The Horror Mr. Moore with Judd Hirsch that we know of so far, and we have the rest of the cast coming. And we finish with a really popular murder and mayhem play. We always do a murder and mayhem series
which is
here.
fun. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
the whole family can come.
Yeah.
And that's Death Trap, which really is going to be quite fun.
And that's
also.
that's a really good show.
It's funny, but it's also a thriller.
Yeah.
So and the 2 plays, Boeing and Death Trap, this year we've had underwriting from the Bank of Bennington for kids 12 and under for free.
Wow.
So people who normally can't afford the babysitter and the show, they can bring their kids.
Oh, that's great.
And I should also mention that the world premiere we're doing of The Horror Mr. Moore has been underwritten to make it possible to do something like that. Manchester Designer Outlets is our lead sponsor for that, and they've been so helpful.
They're fabulous.
In making
they really
that
do
happen.
A good job.
So
that's
they're
really
great,
neat.
yeah.
They're very involved in the community.
They
which
really
is,
are.
Which is really nice.
And
It
very
really,
creative.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, that's really, really wonderful, and I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much. I know your schedule is so busy, and you're like, you know, to take this time. I mean, it's like, it's been really, really Wasn't this great? I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I hope we whet your appetite so that you'll come to the Dorset Playhouse and see what the Dorset Theater Festival has planned for you. So until next time, keep on making those caring connections. Remember that you matter, and remind your spouse, your children, your friends, your family, and maybe even a stranger that they matter too, with a smile, a hug, or just do you matter. Until next time, thanks for being here. Bye-bye.